Good morning, everybody. It has been a long time since I've made a YouTube video, and that's mostly because the pandemic happened and I stayed at home quarantine for a few months. So I've not been working. I did finally go back to work September 1st. So I worked one trip and now I'm back home for the time being. So I am making this video because I wanted to share something super exciting. I bought a van over quarantine. So I think the first 2 months of quarantine, I just sat at home and did nothing, hung out with my mom, relaxed, focused on my health and fitness, and just sort of regrounded from traveling all the time, being in New York, commuting back to Minneapolis, all that stuff. So first things first, am I still a flight attendant? The answer is yes and no. Yes, I'm still a flight attendant. I am working this month. However, due to the pandemic, I got a notice that October 1st, I will be furloughed indefinitely until operations are back up and they need more flight attendants, and then I will get called back. So I am not voluntarily stopping my job as a flight attendant. I love it and I will do it as long as they will have me. So originally when I bought the van, my intention was to use it as a crash pad because I didn't want to pay and I wanted privacy, which is something in an actual crash pad you don't get because there might be 10 other people in 2 bedrooms sharing one bathroom, especially in New York. It's not fun. So my intention was to use this van as a crash pad. However, I started making it before I got my furlough notice. So now I intend to live and travel in it. If I can travel, I will. If I can't, I'm just going to live in it and work and do whatever. So today I am going to give you a tentative tour of my van. There's still a couple of things that I need to finish. And also I have not lived in it yet. So I'm sure after a few weeks or a month of living in it and traveling in it, I can do a whole separate video on things that I have immediately changed or purchased or whatever in that time, things that I realized I needed that I don't know as of now. So let's go take a look. My van is a 1999 Chevy Express conversion family van. Okay, so here we are inside the van. I have the back doors open right now and the side doors open, so hopefully there's some extra light. It is cold in Minnesota today. It's like 40 something degrees, and I swear last week it was like 80, so craziness. But we're gonna get through this chilly van tour. So as you can see, right behind me is my bed area. And I just did a fixed bed because I did not want to bother having to take apart and put the bed back together. Plus I figured it's just me. So this is easy peasy. Lots of pillows at the moment. I don't know that I'm gonna keep all those pillows because it takes up a lot of space. Basically, when I was designing this bed and how I built everything was I literally just built it as I went. Because like I said, I had no clue what I was doing. So the bed frame was the first thing I did after I put up the framing behind the wood panels. So I took a full-size bed measurements and that's what I went on. So width-wise, it is the same width as a full-size bed. However, length, I did have to cut probably about 6 inches off. If I could go back, I would try to make the walls a little less, what am I trying to say? I would have tried to leave a little extra head and foot space, but I was really focused on trying to insulate because I knew I would be in some colder weather, and I have since had some very mixed reviews on insulation in a van. So was it worth it? I don't know. I guess we'll see. But I cannot fit straight this way. I can almost fit, the longest part of the bed is right here next to the edge. I can fit very comfortably diagonally across the bed. So I fell asleep one night on this side of the bed and woke up all the way diagonal. So that seems to be my most comfortable position. Downfall. I don't know how I'm gonna be able to fit a second person in here. And I have lots of friends who want to take this thing on a fun camping trip with me. So it'll be an interesting adventure, to say the least. Next big thing that I have is my kitchen unit, which is right next to my bed. And it just goes right behind my driver's seat here. So I was very inspired by Hannah Lee Duggan's van where she had the tiled countertop. I am obsessed with that tiled countertop. And I knew if there was one thing from this entire van build that I had to do, it was the tile countertop. It was my first time tiling anything, and I didn't do the greatest job, but it looks good enough. I mean, I love how it looks. If you know how to tile things, you could probably find 100 mistakes that I made, but at this point, I love it. So basically, I just took a 3/4 inch piece of plywood. I cut the hole for the sink, and then my mom and I just tiled it. I should have tiled it before I put it in because you can see here where I had a hard time against the wood and all that stuff. So mistakes learned. So if you're gonna if you're gonna tile a countertop, do it outside the van. That might be common sense, but again, I've never done anything like this before. So as far as the actual cabinetry, I did not build this. I went to Menards and I bought, it's 2 separate pieces. This little one is separate from these. So the entire thing cost less than $200. It did not come with the countertop at all. So that you have to buy separate, and it came just plain wood. This was not a drawer. We made this into a drawer. So, and this is nothing. This is just there. So that's what we did. I could have spent the time to try and design a kitchen unit. I could have done something a little skinnier to leave more room in here, etc. But I was coming towards the end of my build. I was exhausted mentally and physically, and this for me was the best option, and I love it. It's perfect for me. I don't think I need anything more than this. So, so these all open here. I still have building materials in them, so it's not packed for what I would travel with, but I just put these baby proofing things on, and those seem to be just fine. So again, this one we added a drawer because it was not a drawer, and it seems to be perfect. That's one of the things, well, pretty much everything here except for the countertop my grandpa did for me. I was his assistant, I guess I would say. Thankfully, because we had to cut the back of these to fit the angle of the van, and he was able to do it very quickly. It probably would have taken me days. So in here I have my Dometic fridge. I installed an outlet back there because I knew this is probably where I was going to keep the fridge. So I don't have it on a pull-out drawer yet, but that's probably something I'm going to have to add so I can access it easily. However, at the moment, because it's empty, it does pull out pretty easily. In here will be the water system. So I have 2 5-gallon tanks, and it is going to be on a foot pump system. However, it's not connected yet because we wanted to make some changes to it and make sure it's not leaking even 1 drop of water. We were having some leaking situations happen. So, but that's going to be fairly simple. We've already got the tube hooked up to the faucet up there. The drain is just a normal kitchen drain. However, we're going to attach this like an RV drain rather than this kitchen drain, just to ensure maximum gravity to pull the water down. Oops. For the sink, which is kind of messy right now, I bought it off of Facebook Market. I'm pretty sure it's an underlying sink, but I did not want to be bothered trying to attach that, so I just put it over the top. My only requirement for the sink was that it was big enough to fit my head in case I wanted to wash my hair in the sink. So I think that was accomplished. It is a massive sink. And I want to get some type of cutting board situation to put over the top so I can cover it if I want to hide what's inside, or have extra counter space for cooking and stuff. I just bought this little faucet, which is just a drinking, like filtered water drinking faucet, but I knew I wouldn't need anything big, especially since it's just a foot pump. I figured the water pressure wouldn't be super crazy. So that's what I did. Having camera issues, so hopefully it'll keep working through this. Okay, so let's talk about cupboards. So these were already, it already came with like upper cabinet area, I guess is what you could say, but I gutted everything from the van. If I could go back in time, there are certain things I think I would not gut out, and I think these upper things would be it. I would just paint them as is and have used them. However, I had gutted it. I got way too excited, so we just went with it. So this is also something my grandpa helped me build. We basically just built a box, shoved it in there and put a face on it, and then I put these doors on it. This one is held shut with Velcro because it seemed to work fine. It's just going to be a linen thing. Right now there's just towels and pillows in there. Here is the other one. This is the very first one that we did. So you can see here, again, we just built a box. We ended up having to put this in for support. This was definitely very experimental for us. You can see here, there's a little gap here because we made this a little smaller. We just didn't know what kind of shape we wanted or anything. We just sort of made something that would fit. So that's what we did. I had no idea what kind of door I was going to put on before I started. I did not think ahead with this project at all. And by project, I mean the entire van. So this was something I added later, but it seems perfect. It is held on just by one of these little lock systems, and that seems to hold everything in. I've been driving around with this stuff for months and nothing has even come close to falling out. So again, I just made this out of plywood. Super easy. Once you get used to using certain tools, you can figure out like the easy stuff. And then up here, we can talk about these shelves a little bit. Let me see if I can balance this. The way the van came was it had a little lip right here, like where the high top meets the wall of the van. So I knew I couldn't have a perfectly flush wall, that there would have to be a shelf or a cabinet or something. And the original plan was to do a cabinet with cabinet doors. However, as you can see, the ceiling is curved this way, which is great because I can stand up straight. I'm actually wearing heels right now and I can still pretty much stand up totally straight, and I'm 5'5". So that part is wonderful. However, trying to plan out how to make cabinets with this curved ceiling was such a headache and pretty much the very last big project of the whole van build, and I was just itching to be done. So what I came up with instead, with the help of my mom, she gave me this idea, was just to make a shelf, and I just bought these from Home Depot. I painted them white to match, and that's what I did. I put some rubber stuff down here so that it could help hold stuff down. This is a little short, so I am going to have to add some like plexiglass or something behind it so stuff doesn't fall over the edge. But as of right now, I love it. Love how it looks. It's cute and it's a nice little extra piece of storage. We have the same thing over here, which you can see I've already kind of started putting stuff up here. Right now nothing has fallen off, but if I try to keep these books upright, they do fall down. Here I added hooks above the kitchen just to put some mugs on. And I've been driving around with those to test if they stay, and they stay perfectly fine. Like, I did have to measure to make sure these wouldn't come in and clank on each other and break, and it seems perfectly fine. So that was really fun. I love how it looks. It just adds a little homey vibe to the kitchen area. Here I have one outlet that I had installed. This was just my temporary light because I had no electricity. It just is stuck on with Velcro. But I have a, let's see, USB and a 12-volt charger there. And my windowsill that I made. And right now, all of my curtains are black, and they're all blackout curtains. And I did that on purpose so that at night, when the lights are on, you can't see what's inside the van. And I did test it out and it works really, really well. Like you could not see anything. There's a couple little spaces you might be able to see, but if you're not looking for anything, you wouldn't notice anything. So even though black isn't really my color, doesn't necessarily go with the decor of the van, I felt that for safety reasons, as a solo female, that was something that was super important. I also used the same curtains right here behind the driver's seat because, again, I just wanted something that would not draw attention, and especially when it starts getting darker, it's just black. It doesn't look like anything. So, and these I just also have Velcro stuck on, and then Velcro put on these. So when I pull it shut, it just sticks to these walls. This seat isn't normally this far back, but yeah, it sticks so you really can't see any light. And I just used a standard curtain rod, like just one of these skinny ones from Walmart there. And it's a little above where you would walk underneath, so you won't hit your head on it. You would hit your head on this thing before the curtain rod. I also considered putting a wall here, and I still might at some point, but as far as safety, I just wanted to be sure I could get to my driver's seat as quickly as possible if I need to. So that's why at this moment we just did curtains. I didn't spend any time trying to figure out how to build a wall. So back to the bed frame. One thing that I knew I absolutely wanted to have in this van build was drawers. Because there's so much storage space underneath, but I figured pulling up the plywood on the bed frame every single time you wanted to change your clothes or anything would be really too much work for me. I wanted easy access. So again, this is something that my grandpa helped me with, was building these two drawers, and there we go. Something stuck in there. So right now it's just all clothes, and I can fit a surprising amount of clothes in here. I still have to get rid of a ton before I live full-time in the van because I have way too much. But yeah, so right now it's just two drawers full of clothes, and they're big drawers. So it pulls out quite a bit, and that's not even all the way out. Like there's still a little bit back there. It's just a little bit of a tight squeeze. I just put this thing in front. It's literally just plywood that I cut the hole out just to cover up. I wanted to do something fancy originally, but again, my building skills were minimal. So this is something that will be super easy to change in the future and to upgrade if I want to. And I just hung this sign here. It says, happily ever after, because I'm a princess and this is my happily ever after at the moment. I just have these locks to keep the drawers from falling open when I drive, because they will. Anything that can fly open when you drive most likely will fly open. I'm just getting really lucky with these upper things, but I think the second I put something heavy in there, it is going to come flying out. Right here I have my light switch. It has 4 switches, but currently I'm only using 3 of them. It also has a 12-volt charger and USB charger there as well. I wanted to make sure I could charge all of my devices anywhere I am. I figured the more the merrier. So these 3 go to these lights up here. First 2, second 2, third 2. They're all on 3 different switches. I figured that I most likely won't need all 6 lights on at one time, but I bought them all, so I used them, and sometimes you just don't know, but I figured the smart thing I could do was to put them all on different switches. There is my fan that Grandpa helped me install because I was too scared to cut a hole into my roof. This outline came with it, the trim. It was white, but I spray painted it the same color I spray painted my cabinet knobs and some of the other hardware, the handles on these cupboards. I spray painted all the same color so that it would fit in, and I really love how that turned out. It is not a max air fan. Those were a little more expensive than I wanted to pay, so I bought the cheaper option, and it seems to work fine. So it opens by this knob here. and it has different settings so you can take air in or you can blow air out. So when you're cooking, you can suck the air out, and at night when you're hot, you can push the air in. And it does not blow when the lid is closed, which I think is a difference between this one and the Max Air fan. So as you can see, I have a window here, and there's also one on the other side, which I had spray painted some black foam insulation, put it in there, and then I covered those windows with the walls. You can see that is the wall where the window is on the other side, but I did not want windows where I was sleeping, just in case. It just gave me a little sense of security, so I just went ahead and covered those up. This is the van from the back. So I used the same wood paneling that I did on the walls on the doors and the garage area. So all I did was cut a piece of plywood, put the wood panels on it, and I attached it with these little, whatever they're called, hinges. And then again, I just have this system here, and there's not really anywhere to go when you're driving for this, so it stays pretty nicely. And this is what I call my garage area. You can see I have some wires running through the conduit there. Otherwise, it is just open storage. It's also open there right underneath the bed in the front, where the kitchen is blocking it. So there's quite a bit of space, which I really just wanted to keep open. I thought about putting drawers, but then that would limit the amount of open space. So I thought this, you could fit as many large items as you wanted. It's also easy to fit a ton of small stuff. Right now it's a lot of tools and some more construction items, but over time, hopefully, it will be stuff that I actually need and use. The last bit I have to show you is what is underneath the bed frame. So let's do that. So underneath the mattress, I have the plywood, which I put a rope handle on. I didn't want to use any other type of handle because I figured, that keeps falling, because I figured you would be able to feel it underneath the mattress. And I did have a hinge on here, however, it broke, so right now I have to hold it up. But there is some open storage under there on that side. As you can see, right now it has my little doggy pool, the fold-up pool. This is the top drawer. You can see under here is my electrical setup. So without proper lighting, it's really hard to show you what's under there, but I have two 100 amp hour batteries here. I have a Sterling Power battery to battery charger, and then I have two fuses against that wall. I do have an inverter, but it's not hooked up. I'm not sure if I'm going to use it or not. Oh my gosh, I'm out of breath. I think it's heavy. My mattress is just a 5-inch memory foam mattress. It made it easy to cut. It's super comfortable. It doesn't take up a lot of space. As you can see, as you get higher, the walls come in a little bit, so I figured the lower I could keep the bed, the more space I would have. And last but not least, I do have a TV. This TV is the one that came with the van. So I knew I was going to have it in here. I sort of copied Susie Cruz there a little bit because that's where she has her TV, and it seemed to work out very nicely. We do have it on this swivel, whatever you call it, mount. So I can move it if I want to be cooking and watching TV. I can have it pointing towards me there. If you're sleeping, if you want it flush up against the wall, you can push it against the wall. I did have to purchase it's a 12-volt TV, but it had a regular charger, so I just had to order one of these. I think I just got this one on Amazon. And so I installed a 12-volt charger right below because I knew that's where I was going to have the TV. So I planned ahead and put that right there. And this is just a little view of the open space here. I wanted to keep it as open as I could because if I ever had to stay in the van for any amount of time, I just wanted to feel like I wasn't crammed and couldn't move. I know a lot of people build something right here and extend into the doorway just to give themselves, you know, a toilet or extra counter space or whatever. And I knew the most important thing to me was having this open space. So at this moment, I am loving having the open space. And because I'm able to stand up, I'm able to walk around because the space is open. So again, that was really important to me. I didn't have a lot of requirements when I was shopping for a van other than, number one, I could stand up in it. I knew that was going to be the most important thing to me, because I knew what I was using the van for. And so I knew if I'm city dwelling that I did not want to sit and have my doors open all the time. That wasn't really potentially a possibility. So if I was going to be stuck in the van, I wanted to be able to stand up, stretch my legs, be able to cook standing up, things like that. So that was my number one requirement. My number two requirement was that it looked like a normal van. It didn't look like a scary cargo van that people are going to call the police on all the time if it's parked somewhere, things like that. I just wanted to be as inconspicuous as possible. So as much as I want to paint this van pink and just have it be the most girly, awesome camper van, I am a little concerned about my safety in doing that. So at the moment, I'm just going to leave it as is. And if that's something I feel safe doing in the future, then it is something I will add later. All right, guys. Well, I think that's it for my van tour. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It is a small van. The design is very, easy and simple. I wanted to keep it that way because I didn't want to overcomplicate things for myself. I was also in a little bit of a rush to finish it, which took me months longer than I originally wanted. As you notice, I don't have solar panels. That is something, if I want to do later, I'm going to, but again, I'm trying to be as inconspicuous as possible. So those are things that were really important to me during this van build. So I did not film for YouTube any of the van build process. I was really focused on actually doing the building and trying to learn, and I just did not have time or help to film it. So if you are interested in watching any of the actual build process, which is an emotional roller coaster, there are some tears, some blood, lots of sweat, also lots of laughs, lots of mistakes, lots of redoing. That all is shown on my Instagram. I have 9 highlights of the van build process. So I will link my Instagram below in case anybody's interested. And if there's any questions you guys have about the van or the van build or future van things, please let me know. Also let me know what kind of videos you guys want to see regarding the van. And I will see you guys in my next video.